Hello, hello. Welcome into Sparkle.Sanctuary. If you're new here, my name's Rebecca. It's so nice to meet you. If you are returning, welcome back. And I'm just glad all of you joined today. Today I thought I would do a WIP in chat, and WIP is WIP, so it's a work in progress. So I will just go ahead and work on my diamond painting while I kind of chat with you about my week and things that happened. And yeah, so please feel free to pull out what you're working on and to use me like a podcast or whatever makes you happy, whatever is going to help you get through this time. And yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about my week. I already went ahead and pulled the plastic back, so I just need to pick out a color. And I'm sorry, this part of my stuff is a little bit disorganized, so give me just a second. I don't know why I wasn't prepared. Like, you would think that being new would make me want to prepare more efficiently, but for some reason it makes me feel more ill-prepared, I guess. But maybe that's the way of things, I don't know. Okay, so the first letter I'm going to pull out is the letter O. So I am currently using this Elizabeth Ward storage system. So this one has lots of really pretty pinks and blues and purples in it, so I thought that would be really lovely to work with. But anyway, how are you doing? How's your week been? I am just trying to settle in for the weekend. I know I'm going to have a lot of stuff to take care of and to do. So yeah, just trying to get all that taken care of. So I'll go back to my last WIP and chat was Saturday the 10th. That was my dad's birthday, and I did go take flowers out to the cemetery and got to see spend a little bit of time out there. It was really beautiful out there. My girls went with me and they were just very sweet. So, and then Sunday I basically just did all of I hate when that happens. Okay, I'm going to move these off again. Try again. This canvas is very slick. And so when I go to move a single diamond, if there's other diamonds around it, sometimes it will just shift them all completely off. But, at least there, so that's, it can be frustrating, but it's workable. It's workable. But anyway, so then Monday was actually the start of school for the kindergartners I work with. It was a pretty good day, like trying to bring in a bunch of, I think there's 5 kindergarten classes, and each class has 19 kids. So there's 95 kids trying to acclimate to just being able to go to school. It's a new situation. A lot of tears because of, leaving mom or dad or grandma or whoever they're living with. And just that kind of stuff happened, as is to be expected with kindergartners. And then, and so I was able to be pretty helpful. I stayed in kindergarten for a large portion of the day and tried to help out in there as much as possible. Just kind of interweaving in between the classes to see what kiddos were struggling. Because I'm part of we call it a care team. And so when there's students that are struggling with something, the care team members respond, and I'm part of that team. So, but yeah, that was it for mostly Monday. Just kindergartners started. Then on Tuesday, the entire school started. Now, the school that I work at I think there's 560 kiddos, not including the pre-kindergarten program that we offer. So it's a lot of students. It was a lot to come in K through 5. So goodness, these are just scooting all over the place. And it makes it hard to line them up. It really does, because they just want to move in places that you're not anticipating them move to. So, anyway, but yeah, there was a situation with a second grader who was really struggling to go into her classroom, and she was just kind of standing in the hall, and one of the members of the care team had been working with her, but they had other duties that they needed to work on. And so they agreed with the teacher to just have her kind of stand out in the hallway. And I happened to come across her while she was standing there, and I'm sorry, but she was, at that point, she was crying, feeling very alone. This was a new school for her, and it was a hard situation. So it had to happen again. So I went ahead and went over and kind of just stood along the wall and was like, hey, this is my name. Just wanted to introduce myself to you. If you don't mind, I just am going to stand here with you for a little while and whatever. So then I, kind of stood there and chit-chatted with her. She had, just kind of stood there and like really didn't say much or do anything. She just cried. Somebody came by and offered her a Kleenex, and I was grateful for that because I didn't have any on me. But yeah, she was only crying a little bit. Thankfully, she wasn't like bawling her eyes out, because that would have been just heartbreaking. And it's hard to see kiddos cry anyway, right? So yeah, so she started talking to me a little bit, and it didn't take very long, and I was able to get her into her classroom. And then when I checked on her later, she was smiling and happy and working with the kiddos and was making friends. And so that was kind of awesome. And then when I saw her at lunchtime, I checked on her again, and she was doing great. And she's really not had any problems since then. I think just that, first day scaries was an issue. But I also had another kiddo that morning, actually, she was a first grader, and I'm on bus duty in the mornings, and so I struggled because I knew the mom needed help with this little girl because she was crying in the hallway and not wanting to go into her classroom, and the mom didn't want to leave her because she was crying, and the mom was kind of making comments that weren't exactly helping the situation. I know the mom was doing the best she could with what she knew, but people with mental health background kind of recognize, sometimes lingering when somebody's upset actually can make it worse. And so I just was trying, to encourage the little girl while also still trying to do that bus duty in the hallway, and it wasn't working great. So the counselor from that department, we have 2 counselors in our school. One is K2 and the other one is 3 through 5. And so the K2 counselor came over and was like, well, let me see what I can do. And he sat out with her in the hallway for at least 10 minutes. It was a while. And the buses all came through by that time. If that tells you how long it was, we got all of the buses through. And there's, I think, 7 buses, but I'm so sorry. I'm struggling so hard with this color, but it's sticking to my pen. It's not sticking to the glue. Sorry, this is such a struggle for me today. But anyway, so the buses have come through. They're all finished. And so I go over, and they're still really struggling. She's been crying off and on, and, mom's holding her hand, and they're trying to encourage her and to go into the classroom. And I was like standing there talking to mom. We kind of talked about a couple situations about what was going on with the little girl, and I was able to find a way that I was able to relate with her. I have to be careful what I say because I am, a mandated reporter, which also means that I'm working under the laws of HIPAA and things like that because I'm out of school. So I have to be careful what I say. But anyway, I was able to kind of connect with her a little bit. And then at one point, I could tell the mom was like, I really need to get going to work and those kinds of things. So finally I was like, what if we all go into the classroom together? And then I said, you can show me where you sit, you can show mom where you sit, and then we can show you that it's not so scary to be in there. And she said, and I looked at the counselor and I looked at mom and I said, why don't you 2 go ahead and walk in, and I'll see if I can't encourage her to follow. So they get up and they go in the room, and I look at the little girl and I'm like, so I'm kind of talking to her a little bit about like her favorite color and what she likes to do, if she likes to do art or whatever. And then, so sorry. Then I said something to her about her mom being in the room. And I said, I said, your mom's in there without you. I sure hope she isn't, taking your seat because you're not sitting in it, so it's possible that your seat's been taken. And she kind of looks at me funny, and I knew in that moment that I had her. So I said, I put my hand out and I said, let's go check and make sure mom's not sitting in your seat. And so she took my hand. You know, she was a little bit shy about it, but she took my hand. And let's see if I can't make this. I'm going to stick that on my pants and maybe make it a little less sticky. But she took my hand and we walked into the classroom, and she started to make a beeline for her mom when she saw her. And I said, wait a minute. Can you please show me where your seat is? And she looks at me and nods and shows me her seat. And then I start asking her questions like, who do you sit next to? You know, things like that. And she started really engaging with me a little bit more, which was awesome, because that means, you know, that's a really good sign. So I ended up asking her to show me the stuff inside of her desk, all the stuff that she brought. And she had a unicorn pencil box. And I was like, unicorns, I love unicorns. And I was like, that's something else we have in common. And she kind of smiled at me. And then I asked her if she had, because that was all that was really in her desk to show me. So I asked her if she brought a backpack that had stuff in it. And she nodded her head yes. So we went over and started to unzip her backpack. And the teacher was like, we're going to start lining up to go get a drink. And that piqued her interest. And so I said, you know what, let's leave your backpack here and we will go and get a drink if we'll go line up. And she said, okay. And so he started calling numbers, and he called her number. And so she immediately went over to get in line with the other kiddos. And at that moment, she kind of smiled at her mom, and I could see her mom's face relax a little bit. I mean, it was really kind of nice to see. Man, I am really, I don't know. I've tried tapping it on my skin. I've tried tapping it on my clothes. I'm just going to have to do this a little bit more, because this one is just so sticky. It's pulling these drills right off. There we go. Anyway, so she's standing in line, and I just double check because she's still wearing her jacket. I say, you know, it's kind of warm. Are you wanting to wear your jacket? She says yes. And I said, okay, it's fine to wear it inside for a little while, but just if the teacher asks you, you'll have to take it off. And she said, okay. So the kids are all lined up, and the teacher starts talking about going out in the hallway, and the little girl just looks up and gives her mom just the slightest wave. And I told the mom, I said, she's waving goodbye. She's giving you permission to go ahead and go. So let's see them outside in the hallway. Let's walk out with them, and then you can give her a hug and go ahead and leave. And the relief that like washed over the mom was, you could see it. Like, you could tell she was so relieved. And the mom had, I think, some anxiety about her starting her first day in a new school. And she was upset about some things that were going on with the school system. And so I think some of that, you know, when you're upset, it can easily project onto your children will pick up on it, and then they'll become more anxious too, right? It's really hard to be in those kinds of situations. So yeah, so the mom walked out in the hallway and gave her a hug and waved at her, and that little girl just went about the rest of her day, had a fantastic day, was engaged in class. I went and checked on her later, and it was amazing. And this counselor that was working with her, he's pretty young and fairly new. And after he saw everything, he was like, you're going to have to tell me what it was that you just did, because that was awesome. Because, you know, like I said, he had been working with her for a while and wasn't really getting her to budge. And so I just kind of smiled and I said, I'll have to, you know, explain it to you later. So that made me feel really good, because I do have, my degree is in psychology, but I don't have a license to do counseling work. So it definitely, I mean, that's, like I said in my last video, that's something I've always, you know, strived for. And so it felt really good to, you know, do something good in that moment. So anyway, I did see her at lunch later, and she gave me a huge hug, and I was actually able to help her in a situation that could have been potentially dangerous. And so, yeah, I honestly, like, that day was a solidly good day for me. I really, really, really enjoyed my Tuesday. And then Tuesday evening, I just came home, and it was normal, you know, like, spent some time with my family kind of thing. But then Wednesday, I ended up spending, my kids actually started school, because they're in high school in a different district. And so their first day of school was actually Wednesday. and my daughter is a senior, and my twins are sophomores, and they're girls too. So I have 3 girls, and they rode to school. My oldest drove them, and they are all fine. I need to preface this by saying they are all fine, but they did get into a small car accident on the way to school. And the way I found out was through a notification on Life 360, because I had those notifications on, and that scared me to death, because I'm like, why didn't they call me? If they were in an accident, this must be bad. So I pulled them up on Life 360 to verify that the accident was legitimate, and it was. So I immediately started calling my girls, like, what's happening, what's going on. They told me that they were in stop and go traffic. My daughter was like, I don't understand what happened. She said, I tried to stop. The car didn't stop. I don't know. She was like, I really am not a bad driver. I don't know what happened. So we ended up talking about it over the next couple days, and it ended up, her dad had purchased her this car back in May, said he wanted to, to get her a car to make sure she could drive to school and whatnot. And so he bought her this car back in May, and then I don't know what it was between then and now, but apparently the brakes are bad. And so that made her feel so much better, finding out that the brakes were bad. And those are supposed to get fixed on Wednesday. So they are going to have to be bus riders for a little bit. And they're not loving that, because they were so excited about being car riders this year. But, sometimes we have to do what we have to do. For a couple days they can ride the bus. But yeah, I'm just glad they were all okay and nobody was hurt. And yeah, it's unfortunately going to be on my daughter's record for the next 5 years that she was in this car accident, and it'll appear like it was her fault, even though it really technically wasn't. It was the bad brakes. The car did not, there's a piece of plastic on that. The car didn't stop. The brakes didn't work, and the car didn't stop. And that really, it's frustrating that was her fault, because the maintenance of that car doesn't fall on her, and it's going to be on her record. So thankfully she'll be pretty young. She's when it comes off. So at least this isn't something that, will be stuck with her into her 30s or whatever. So yeah. And, insurance rates for teenagers is high anyway, but she is a straight A student, so she gets a discount. And I don't know, maybe in another capacity she'll have some accident forgiveness or something. I don't know. But I hope this isn't blurry. I'm struggling to see it without the light underneath it. But I don't know. Can't see the camera. Is it blurry? I can't tell. Okay, hopefully that's clear for you guys, because I already recorded this once and it didn't go well. It didn't have any sound, so this is my second time recording this WIP and chat. But okay, so then Thursday, let's see if anything else. Oh yeah, I had practice. I sing at church. So Wednesday night I had practice, and then Thursday I just helped with another first grader that was struggling to get into class. They had actually, that poor kid, they had been working with him on Tuesday and Wednesday to try to get him to go into class and to engage and do anything. And he had been very standoffish and not working well. And then in the afternoon on Thursday, they finally gave up, and they were like, we have other things that we need to do. Can you come in and help? So I ended up going in and taking over. And I'm going to switch these trays because I need a smaller tray. Within an hour or two, maybe, I had him going off to class. So that was kind of awesome, being able to help another kiddo. And that worked well for him. I also helped out. There's a kindergartner that was kind of struggling with staying in class. And so I recommended a visual schedule and things like that. And I was in the room at one point and just kind of talked him through his schedule, and he didn't elope, and he didn't get upset with the schedule changes or, during the transitions or anything. So I'm like, some people just need to know what's happening. He's probably comes from a family where they kind of give him some input on what's going on in the day. And when you're in a classroom and the teacher's like, okay, we're done with this, now we're going to move on to that, it can be hard to adjust to that, So I said maybe a visual schedule or something that he can look at or get guidance from would be helpful for him. And I also said that if they talk to the teacher, maybe she could set a 10-minute timer, or a 1-minute timer, set a 1-minute timer when it's about time to transition, to see if that would help. So yeah, helped out with several kiddos this week, and I'm looking forward to being part of the team. It is a very different job than, so last year I had kiddos that they would say this kiddo is struggling, and then I would pull them out of class and we would work 2 to 3 times a week, 1 to 2 times a week on learning how to self-regulate, right? And I would teach them self-regulation skills and different things that they can do in the classroom and at home, even that they can help re-regulate themselves so that they wouldn't have as many behaviors or whatever it is that they were doing. And sometimes it was just providing emotional support for kiddos that were upset about something, whatever, but I would pull them out into groups and do that. And I spent a lot of time actually in like 3rd grade classrooms helping them, because the 3rd grade teachers really didn't know what they were doing. The 2 of them were like foreign exchange kind of teachers, and so they had never ever had to deal with behaviors before. And I work in a school where there's a lot of behaviors, and so I was able to kind of give them pointers on how to deal with some of them, and some of those skills they utilized really, really well and were able to make progress in that grade. So helped do a little bit of training and teaching in those kinds of aspects and things like that. And this year I'm on what we call a care team, and so I actually am like a responder when there is a behavior happening, which is it's definitely a more exhausting kind of role. I'm good at it, like I don't have problems with it. It doesn't bother me. It just is more tiring. So I've been coming home every day just wiped out. So I haven't done a whole lot of diamond painting. I am on the 3rd row. I did get 1 row done, but typically I'd be done by now, especially given that I had, the last time I did a WIP and chat was on the weekend. Usually my weekends I spend, I get my house cleaned up and then I do diamond painting. And so I will, like, one of these size diamond paintings I can get through in just a couple weeks. And I've been working on this one for a while, so it's definitely slowed me down not doing that. And then also just trying to get content out there and get engagement and things like that. So let's see, Friday, my son, both of my boys contacted me this week. One of them was to schedule, his girlfriend's birthday was this Friday, and so he scheduled a lunch with me for today. And so we're supposed to go to lunch and then go shopping. The shopping was like a last minute request. But yeah, and then my other son, the one that I moved out of town, he already contacted me saying, I don't have groceries, I need money. So I sent him some money. But anyway, then Friday, most of my day was just spent in kindergarten. Nothing big deal that happened that day. I did contact the grant coordinator and asked if there were any updates about the grant to see if my job was more secured. And there are not any updates, which is frustrating. And she just reiterated that the grant, was good through the September 30th, but I'm sorry, it takes a while to find a job. And I don't know that I can wait until we find out September 30th whether or not I have a job. I kind of feel like here in the next couple weeks, if I haven't heard anything, then I need to be job hunting, which is really unfortunate because I really love working for the school I work for. And I love doing what I do, and I know there's a need for it, and it's just unfortunate that this, grant hasn't been approved by the government yet. So hopefully, just fingers crossed, they get some news in the next couple weeks, because I really would hate to have to go in at my boss and say, I'm sorry, but I have to look for another job, because I have to be able to provide for my family. It's important, because as much as I love this job, I can't afford, the only thing that they could do would be to like give me a job as like maybe a para or something like that, and that's like half the wages what I make, and I just can't do that. So yeah, it's really sad, and it'll break my heart if I have to do that. So I'm praying, lots of prayer. So anyway, let's see. Let's get off of my week and how that went, and let's kind of talk about other stuff. So I have had, like I said, I've had some tech issues, and I recorded a couple of ASMR shorts, and the audio on them has a fan in the background because my air conditioner was on, and there's really not anything I can do about it, and I want to make sure I get that content out there, and I really don't have time to re-record it since I'm re-recording this. So I'm just gonna have to put them out there as they are, and hopefully people don't chew me up and spit me out for it. But people like what they like, and they don't like what they don't like, and at least it's content, at least I'm trying. So that's all I can say about that. Other things for the channel, I know I recently posted my WIP and chat for last week. I had posted it late, and so this one is going to seem like it's kind of back to back, but this will help me get on track, because I'd really like to record these videos on Saturday and then upload them on Monday to have them out fairly quickly, because I don't want it to be kind of out of touch with what's going on, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm going to be doing with that. Let's see. I do have plans this afternoon to meet with another YouTuber. She also has a fairly small channel. Hers is bigger than mine, but it's fairly small. But she also works in the mental health field. And I met her at the Crafters Paradise retreat, and we kind of mentioned at that time that we might do some kind of mental health collaboration. So we're scheduled to meet this today, and we'll kind of talk about what we're hoping to get out of it and what we'd like to do. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about potentially putting content out there that's, going to be, helpful for somebody, just through whatever mental health, whatever it is that we discussed that at that moment. So, I hope that this isn't bothering anybody the way I'm struggling so much with these drills. But it also doesn't help that I don't have my light pad on, because I didn't want it to glare in the video like it has been. And so it's a little bit harder for me to see, because as you can see, these are quite saturated drills, and the symbols in the background are very dark. So I don't know. I don't think that this is... I feel like it's a little bit blurry. I really hope that this is not blurry. Anyway, so I'll get back to this. Let's see. My next, after I finish this canvas, I'm wondering what to do for Drills and Chills. I have a pretty significant, it's like my favorite event. I love this Wizard of Oz event, as well, Oz and Og, and I love Shay's channel, so I 100% participate in this event every year. But Oz and Og has I love fall, I love Halloween. It's like my favorite holiday, and so I just really enjoy working on those diamond paintings, and so I'm looking forward to doing that. So I think the next picture I'm going to work on, I have one that's already kitted up that's very fall, it's got orange and yellow leaves, and it's a diamond art club with a bench in it and an umbrella. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a great picture, and so I've considered doing that one. But I also have a ton of images of very fall or witchy type things. I have a bunch of Harry Potter stuff, so all of those kinds of things work for Drills and Chills. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I definitely need to be making a decision, because September is right around the corner, and I'm hoping as soon as I finish this that I can turn around and start on that. So that's what I'll be working on next. If I decide before I post this, I may just go ahead and put in the comment section, the picture I decided on, and the link to it if it's got a link to it. Other things, I plan to watch the last season of Umbrella Academy. I've not been hearing great things about it. There's a lot of people that are very disappointed in the season finale. It's really short and whatnot. I mean, COVID threw everything off, so it's a little bit like a lot of shows just really struggled to find their footing and to record in a timely manner. And, you know, some of these characters, I think, no longer really want to be part of the show. And so I think they just finished it off as quickly as possible so that they could move on to something else. And that's really unfortunate. I haven't seen it yet, but I haven't watched it because I'm really kind of not looking forward to watching it based on the reviews that I've heard. However, maybe based on those reviews, because I don't have high expectations, maybe when I go into it, it won't be so bad. I don't know. I know that I'm looking forward, like Only Murders in the Building is less than 2 weeks away. So I'm looking forward to watching that. I enjoy watching that show. And I think that's it, like right now. I do know I've been seeing on my TikTok feed has been full of conversations around the new movie This Is Us that came out. And I struggle, like I ended up posting something on my Facebook because I personally have been through situations and would find, would find a movie like that triggering. And so just based on what I saw, I went ahead and made a post on my Facebook that said, hey, I haven't seen this, but heads up, a lot of the promotion from Blake Lively and the videos that I'm seeing that are like trailers for the movie have made this appear to be a romance film. And honestly, it's not necessarily a romance film. It's about DV. And for anybody who's been in a volatile household, seeing somebody go through being hurt that way can be very triggering. And I would have been inconsolable in the theater seeing that and not knowing that it was coming. So I just put a kind of a warner out there, I just put out there that there's no trigger warning. And if you are a person that has experienced this and you were considering to go see it, do your research, because like I said, it would have been devastating. I don't know if I will ever watch it, but if I do, it's going to have to be at home where I can pause it. I do know I'm actually more interested in seeing this movie than I have any other movie on this topic, because according to the director, I think it's Jason Baldoni. I could be saying that wrong. I could be completely wrong. But anyway, he is saying that he intentionally made the male protagonist a very lovable, likable man because he didn't want the main character, female character, to look bad for choosing to stay with him through the situations that they were going through. And I love that. I'm so tired of seeing movies where the abuser is villainized and looks like a horrible monster, because then you get things like, well, if it was that bad, why did you stay? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you whatever? And it's so inappropriate to blame the victim for their situation. And it's, nobody stays in those situations because the person is abusive. We stay in those situations because we're in love, and it's just a tragic situation that you never imagine yourself being in a violent household. You never imagine having to wake up one morning and realize that you've been hurt so severely by somebody who claims to love you. Like, that's not a thing. And it's a process of being broken down over time. It's not something that you meet a guy and suddenly they're abusing you. No, they make you fall in love with them and they make you question your own sanity. And there's just so much more to it than that. And so I really appreciate that he did that. And so part of me wants to see it just so I can see how accurate that is and see if I can. It's blurry again, I think. I am so sorry if this video ends up blurry. This is going to really upset me if it is. But anyway, it's definitely not an easy situation to be in. And so I'm kind of hopeful that that information is out there, because I think maybe it'll make people look at DV a little bit differently and maybe possibly stop blaming victims and allowing them to feel more empowered, because, you know, they deserve to hear that this was not their fault. So yeah, I'm so beyond grateful if that's the way that this director actually portrays this, you know, to be. And I think it could be potentially empowering for some people. So yeah, I don't know if I watch it, like I said, it'll be in the comfort of my own home where I can pause the movie and process my emotions, because I know it's going to be triggering and it's going to be hard to watch. And then if it is what I hope it is, what I'm hoping that he's done with it, then I'm probably going to show it to my girls, because, you know, when you're young, you make excuses. When people make you cry, you make excuses. That piece that's trash. When somebody you love makes you cry, whether it's because they're being mean to you physically or emotionally or mentally, you know, it's hard to come to grips with that. It's hard to fathom that, because you wouldn't make them cry. You wouldn't hurt them that way. So having, you know, somebody hurt you is just unfathomable. And then also, you know, like, that's not who you signed up for when you started dating them. And so you're hoping that they'll change back to the person that you started dating. And unfortunate truth is that people don't change backwards, they change forwards. And so, you know, if somebody is showing you who they are, then you have to believe them. And that's unfortunately one thing that, you know, like, you get these rose-colored glasses and you're so in love that all you can think about is who this person is in those moments when you love them, and not who they are in the moments when they aren't loving you. So yeah, I'm kind of frustrated with the promotion of the film by certain members, like cast members, like Blake Lively specifically, and the author of the book. Just, I can't imagine wearing a floral dress and gathering my friends and going and seeing this movie and then being incredibly triggered and bawling my eyes out and not being able to escape it. I can't imagine what that would do to me mentally, emotionally. It would be too much. And yeah, I'm very concerned for people who are going to go see that movie and have no idea what it is they're walking into. It makes me sad that there aren't trigger warnings on it. So yeah, and I kind of hope at some point that I can talk more in depth about why those trigger warnings are important and how you can potentially protect yourself when there aren't trigger warnings and things like that in the future. So if that's something that you would be interested in seeing, and it doesn't have to be DV kind of trigger warnings, it could be a variety of stuff, a variety of things that would cause triggers for you. So yeah, if you're interested in that kind of content, let me know below, because yeah, I would be interested to see how many people would find that helpful. Yeah, because I've been learning some things and just personal experience things, and then I just recently learned about something new that could potentially help specifically when it comes to films and things like that. So yeah, I could do that. I should get going with my daily plans, and I'll have to finish this section later, and hopefully I will get so much more of this done if I have time this weekend to get anything completed. So yeah, that would be very nice. But anyway, I hope you have a really great weekend. I hope you have some time to unwind and take care of yourself. You know, just find your own little Sparkle Sanctuary where you can take care of your mental health, because that's what the Sparkle Sanctuary is supposed to be. And I will see you next time. Bye.